We appreciate you signing on and taking the time to give us your feedback on new homes on Cityscape. And so what we're going to do, we have a packed agenda, and I want to turn it over to our council member here, Carolyn Evans-Shabazz, to kick off with a few words.
Well, thank you so much, Jeremiah, and thank you for all that have gathered here this late, it's not evening yet, it's afternoon, to hear this wonderful information for the new homes on Cityscape. I'm very excited and encouraged that this will provide home ownership for people who may not have been able to have that opportunity. Of course, I have talked about the opportunity to have a homeowners association because we certainly want to make sure that certain guidelines are met and kept. And so I am so glad that people are engaging because it's very important that the community is allowed to have their input as to what is going to take place in their communities. And so thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very excited about this, and I will be listening to glean from the constituents to see what it is that they want to see. So thank you so very much for this opportunity, and you all have a great evening.
Thank you, council member. That's a great way to kick it off. And I'm going to hand the mic, the virtual mic, to our Assistant Director, Ray Miller, to add a few words.
Thank you, Jeremiah. And thank you, everyone, again, also for attending this evening. I would like to echo the words from Councilmember Evans-Shabazz that this is the opportunity to hear from you. The city is looking to gauge to get the engagement from the community about, not just creating homes, not just with, the style of the colors or, use and amenities. We're talking a lot about that tonight. But what we want to hear from you is when we move forward and we put out a proposal, to developers to ultimately develop this. But what we need to capture from you tonight, what we want to do is what is it going to mean from you that this development not only is needed and belongs in the community, but what is it going to take to what is it that we need to consider to make it part and fit within the community itself? And we have a packed agenda as Jeremiah talked about to get that from you tonight. But this is your opportunity, and this is the way that this is your opportunity to give us that feedback that's going to go in there and to make this transaction a part of what we do within the Sunnyside and greater area. So enough from me. Jeremiah, I'll turn it back over to you, but we are excited to hear from you tonight, and I can't wait to get started.
All right. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Councilmember Evans-Shabazz. We're going to go ahead and get started. So if we can go ahead and move on to the next couple of slides. So this is just for all of you here, our large track team here at the Housing Community Development Department. You just heard from Assistant Director Ray Miller, and this is the rest of our team, just as an FYI. So let's go ahead and get started. The real housekeeping. For those of you who've joined us online, please have your microphone muted during this part of the presentation. On the back half, we're going to ask for you to jump in and give us your thoughts, just so that everyone knows this presentation is being recorded. So we'll send that out to all of you who have joined online. In the meantime, while your mics are muted, you can go ahead and put your questions into the chat or just write them down for later on. All of your questions and updates will be listed at our New Homes for Cityscape landing page. And we're going to have a link to that at the end of this. And as we go through the development process, all of our updates will be stored here. But for what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about the project background, our community engagement process, some key questions that we're asking of you, the community, and then we're going to go into a virtual breakout session and kind of have that deep dive and all that feedback and information that the council member and Assistant Director Miller mentioned. That's where we're going to take the time to hear from you and also share virtual options. So down the road, if you have extra questions or ideas, you'll be able to know how to leave that with the city. Let's go and kick off our project background. This development is funded under the Harvey Single Family Development Program, which has three key aims. The first is to create new homeownership opportunities for residents, but also to ensure that those homeownership opportunities meet the community needs. And on top of that, we have to make sure that these top opportunities are for a variety of incomes. So to make sure that home ownership is attainable for households that are considered that are earning 80% area median income, which we're going to talk about. Ultimately, our goal is to help anyone in Houston who is impacted by Hurricane Harvey that wants to become a homeowner become a homeowner. So let's talk a little bit about the need. These next few slides, I think, are things that we all kind of have an understanding of, but when you put it all together with that context, slide after slide, it really drives home the need for home ownership opportunities, creating new home ownership opportunities, I should say. So what we're looking at this slide are the area median income in Houston, the metropolitan area, for four-person households. On the top line, we are looking at a household earning up to 80% area median income for four persons. And the bottom line is for folks that are earning up to 120% area median income. And you can see from 2020 to 2021, those numbers don't change very much. So I'm going to give just a second to pause. But what I really want to point out is that right arrow on the very end, the percentage increase. The area median income only increased less than 1%. But when we look at average sales prices in the Houston metropolitan area over just the last 12 months, we see that that has increased 11.4%. So a home that you purchased in 2021 for under $370,000, 12 months later is costing $410,000, just under $411,000 actually. And when you look at median sales price, it's the same story. Over the last 12 months, median sales price for homes in Houston have increased 15.5% year over year. And as we just saw a couple of slides ago, our median income, our salaries, our take-home pay is definitely not increasing at this clip. Despite all that, we see that there's still a home sales explosion. So this is creating a scenario where for that attainability for home ownership is slipping away for folks that are wanting to pursue that path. So under this program, the city is moving forward, acquiring large tracts of land to help address the housing stock issue. And that is what we're going to be talking about today and what we are going to be moving forward on in the Cityscape Avenue new home development. So just a little bit about the site itself. It is on Cityscape Avenue in between East Orem and Alameda Genoa, and it's just under 15 acres, 14.9 acres to be exact. We anticipate building up to 240 total homes, with 122 of those being considered attainable. We're going to talk about what that means in a few slides. Again, just want to take a quick pause to remind everyone online, feel free to put your questions into the chat. Feel free to begin writing them down so that way during our facilitated conversation after this presentation, we can go ahead and start collecting your feedback. But what we're looking at here on this slide is the development process. Step one was finding suitable sites, and so that included the Cityscape location. And we're in step two now. And everyone here tonight is engaged in this process on step two, which is to gather your community feedback. We began that in March, and we're going through May of 2022, which is through the end of this month. And we are collecting your feedback through that period of time. And importantly, what we're going to do with it is step three, which is issue a notice of funding of availability to developers. So what this means is what Ray hinted at earlier. Your feedback is going to go into what is called that NOFA, and developers will have to respond to that if they want to have a high score in their evaluation for the proposal. So to put it in clear terms, your feedback on key design features of this development will be scored on this document, which we anticipate launching at the end of June. Developers will have 3 months to respond, and then in step four, we are hoping to move forward with selecting a developer by the end of October, and that developer will begin the process of developing that land and the goal of selling homes in late 2023 through 2024. I do want to caution all dates are subject to change, but this is our current timeline. So just to help you begin imagining what this development could look like, this is a draft plan here. Each developer will submit their own, and part of what they will submit will be based off the feedback we hear from you. So this is going to be a great opportunity to kind of play Minecraft or Animal Crossing, whatever simulation games are popular these days. That feedback, when you're playing those video games, this is your opportunity to do that in real life on this development here at Cityscape. So we do want to talk about the home buyer process because we do get a lot of questions on that. So let's kind of fast forward into the future, right? It's 2 years from now, these homes are available for sale. All these homes will be disaster resilient and energy efficient. They will have Energy Star efficiency and IBHS fortified roof standard. And now it's 2 years again into the future, and they're listed on, say, hard.com. What's going to happen, the way this will work for you, the home buyer, is that all homes will be listed at market rate price because they will be built to market rate specifications. For 49% of the homes, you will go through the traditional home buyer process, which is beginning with getting a fixed-year mortgage from a lender and working with your realtor to find a home and all that work that goes into that. For the 51% that we are calling attainable, you will also secure a 30-year fixed rate mortgage and work with a lender. But on the next step, when we're looking at that downward towards angle arrow, if you were impacted by Hurricane Harvey and are earning 80% area median income, and let me take a step back. What we mean by being impacted by Hurricane Harvey, to put plainly, if you lived in the city of Houston on the day Hurricane Harvey hit, you're impacted directly or indirectly by the hurricane. If you're earning up to 80% area median income, you will be eligible for down payment assistance of up to $135,000 up based off the difference of your fixed rate mortgage, whatever you get from the bank, and the market rate price of that home. So if you need $100,000 to close that affordability gap, we will be able to help you provide that. In exchange, you will agree to a 5-year secondary lien on your home, and that will be forgiven every year. 20% will be forgiven. At the end of the 5 years, that secondary lien will be completely forgiven, and you will be a homeowner just the same as on the other 49% of the market rate. So to be clear, this development is for single-family home ownership opportunities. Everyone who purchases a home in that neighborhood, your future neighbors, will have secured a fixed-rate mortgage, and everyone living in that development will own their own home. To give you a little feedback on what 80% area median income is, we put together a couple of homebuyer profiles. The first here is an example of a young couple. They're married in their mid-20s, and they have a new infant. They're both recent college graduates because, as we know, college has also gotten more expensive. So they've taken a little bit longer to go through and get their degrees. So that means they are just starting off their careers. So these salary figures we're looking at are kind of the lower end of what these professions will make in the Houston metro area, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. You have one person is an admin assistant at a nonprofit agency. The other is beginning their firefighter career. And so this household will qualify for down payment assistance as they're a 3-person household earning up to $57,050. This area median income figure is updated yearly by HUD, so that's going to change between now and when the homes are for sale. But this is just to give an example of what this looks like. In the second example, we have what we call the full house. So it's a traditional nuclear family plus a uncle. One of the adults is a 100% disabled military veteran, so they have right under $400,000 in income. We have one parent who's an inspector earning what is right at the median income level for that profession here in Houston, and one stay-at-home parent and 2 children going to school. So this 5-person household will be eligible for this program because they lived in the city of Houston during the time that Hurricane Harvey hit, and they're earning up to $83,650. So that's a trip into the future by a couple years. Let's go and come back to today. So our stakeholder engagement plan, or community engagement plan is another way to say that. We began going out to the community to gather feedback beginning March 22nd, where we held a virtual community leaders focus group. And everyone here today is part of items 2 and 3, the community engagement sessions, which you're a part of by being here tonight, and a virtual comment period, both going through the end of May, so May 31st. And then it's our intention to gather your feedback, summarize it, and put it into the NOFA. And in July, after that NOFA is released, we're going to come back out here into the community and show you how that feedback looked. So we'll recap it and we will show you in the NOFA how that translated. So we already talked about this a little bit in the previous slide, so I'm not going to go over it again, but we have that comment period and a recap session in which we're planning. You may have seen some of these signs, flyers. If you're here tonight, you most likely saw some of these via email or social media. We have a social pinpoint tool, which is bilingual. It has a map tool, a survey, and an ideas wall, which we'll demonstrate at the end of this PowerPoint deck before we have our facilitated conversation. It's a free tool that'll be up to the 31st, so you can leave feedback on this development anytime that you'd like. So here's a screenshot of what this map tool looks like. The current ideas wall as of at least yesterday when I took this screenshot. And so we're going to have that live demonstration in just a second. But these are the key questions we really want to ask you, the community here today. The first is designing in context. We want to get your feedback on what characteristics give the nearby homes their look and feel. We want to think about common factors that make this neighborhood have its distinctive look and feel. So think about the type of trees, the housing colors, sidewalks, how all that's developed. So all these pictures here are, at least in the first two columns, are from homes that were available for sale on HAR within the last few months within a mile radius. So the development does not have to look like this. That's going to be partially up to you and your feedback. But we want to hear from you what makes this cityscape development, what would make it feel like it fits into the neighborhood. Another way to phrase that simply is what makes a house or home feel like it's part of the community. We also want to ask you about density and good design. So in those first few slides showing the need, what we showed the increase in housing sales prices, and one of the reasons why that's the case, there's a variety of reasons, but part of that is land is scarce. So we want to make good use of the land and put and likely have a more dense neighborhood, including townhomes or small condos. This will help make the homes themselves more attainable. But we want to ask you, how can we make those slightly denser developments feel like they belong in the neighborhood? And not only that, we have to think about designing for connection. If you're a future home buyer at Cityscape, how do you want to connect to your neighbors within the neighborhood? And how do you want to connect to the amenities just outside the neighborhood? How do we build that connectivity into a way that will work for you? Another way of asking that is, how can we best connect this development to assets in the neighborhood? And then we also want to ask you about communal space. How do we design green and communal spaces that will help the development build communities? So here you have some pictures of parks within a mile radius. This is, again, based on your feedback. What are the features, not only in the green space, those green spaces, but in between the homes? How do you want to talk to your neighbors? Are porches important to you? Are shaded trees important? Whatever the case may be, we want to hear from you so that we can incorporate that feedback into the NOFA. So here's an example of how green space can be incorporated in between townhomes. So we're coming towards the end of these key questions. Think about, how can green and public spaces in these developments help bring residents together? Well, we're almost at the end of the presentation portion. For those of you that join us online, we're going to go into breakout rooms, and that's going to be facilitated by our partner, Asakira Robinson. And they have a few staff members that are going to help use what are called Google Jamboard to gather your feedback. Before we kind of break out though, we ask you all to share with your neighbors, your friends, and family. Help us get the word out. We have one more community meeting, and we want to make sure as many people that want to get their feedback can. You can do that by sharing our HoustonTX.gov/housing/home Cityscape website. Again, for those of you who registered, we'll send this presentation out so you don't have to write down this link. But we really would like for you to go ahead and share that information with your neighbors. If you have any questions you'd like to ask the team, you can do that by emailing us at this email address, which is hsfdp@houstontx.gov. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up the website to do a quick demonstration of it, and then we'll go into the breakout group. So give me just one moment while I share that. So all of y'all get to hear the clicking of the keyboard. Give me just 1 second. All right, everyone. So this is the New Home for Cityscape website. You can see here on the top right. Definitely, if you want to follow that development, click here to subscribe to our email list, and we'll give you updates as we learn more information. As you scroll through the website, there's some of the information we already covered. Here's how you're going to access that social pinpoint tool we're going to do a demonstration of in just 1 second. And our last meeting for the Cityscape address will be at Houston Community College South Campus here at Thursday, May 26th. And at the very bottom of the screen are some frequently asked questions. So definitely take the time to go through that. But I want to spend a minute or two going through the social pinpoint tool. So this is a free tool. It's mobile friendly and has a Spanish translation. And so you can come out here 24/7 and leave your feedback. This is the map tool. So you have these 3 icons you can use to give your feedback. Just click, drag, drop, and you'll get this pop-up box. You can leave whatever feedback you'd like. Give us ideas. It doesn't have to be dropped right at the location. If there's a park in Houston or a townhome development on the other side of the city that you think is great, you can drop that pin right there and say, hey, the design facade for those townhomes should look like this. You can leave your feedback. You'll put your email address. So that's just to make sure we don't have bots spamming the site. Click I agree and then add your comment, and then it'll be public. There's a social tool component to this. So here's one comment. So you can hit like or dislike. So even if you don't have your own comment, if nothing's coming to mind, you can read what's on the site, and you can participate by hitting like or dislike. The most popular ideas are the ideas we're going to put into the NOFA. We also have a survey tool. It's quick. It's 4 questions. The last question is whether or not you'd like to see an HOA, as the council member Evan Shabazz mentioned. If you click yes, you'll have an option, and I'm going to do that now. You'll get an additional question where you can actually give us your feedback on what you would like to see within the HOA. And finally, an ideas wall. This is going to open up another browser for you, another tab in your browser, but it's just another way to leave feedback. So it's a very similar look and feel. You'll click one of these 3 items if you have questions, if you want to make a general comment, or your dream for the site. Just click any one of those icons and you'll see this box again, and you can add whatever comment you would like to leave the city, or you can hit like or dislike to comments that already exist. So again, this site will be up to the 31st. So even if after today's meeting you have an amazing idea, as soon as we sign off, you can come back out to this website and you can let us know through May 31st. So with that, that is the end of my speaking at you, and we want to take the time to hear your feedback. We want to hear about what you would like to see at the New Homes for Cityscape. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to hand it off to our partners at Ask Robinson, to begin the online portion of our facilitated conversation with you. Thank you for everyone who's joined us so far. Please stick around. We look forward to speaking with you.
All right, thanks, Jeremiah. Let me share my screen. Okay, so thank you again for joining us tonight. So my name is Wei Xiao with Ezekiel Robinson, and I'll be your facilitator for the rest of the night at the time together. So my colleague Cecily will be also joining us in the chat room, and she'll be taking notes and also share important information as needed. Cecily, if you want to say hi to everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here and excited to hear all of your thoughts.
Great, thanks, Cecily. So we are going to have a facilitated conversation through Google Jamboard, which is in my shared screen, about features that you'd like to see for this development. So you will have two ways to participate, either through the chat or by using the raise hand icon. So if you use raise hand icon, we will call on yourself to unmute yourself to one, share your idea, two, or agree with an idea already on the Jamboard, or add on to an idea that's already on the Jamboard. So you can also use the chat to provide ideas and give support to ideas already given. So if you do have questions about the development beyond the topics we're discussing, you can reach out to HCDD team at the email Cecily will be sharing in the chat in a minute. And remember, so the summary will be incorporated into the notice of funding availability for developers to respond to. And this will not be the only item developers will adjust in the proposals, but this will be a significant component. So the more specific the feedback, the clearer the city can be on the notice of funding availability. And as you are answering the questions, just think about what makes this important to me. We do have about 30 minutes for this session, and we're going to spend about 7 minutes for each topic. But remember, the city has one more community meeting, and you can always leave your feedback on the social pinpoint through May 1st. All right, so let's jump into the first topic. So the first one we want to ask is, what makes a house or home feel like it's part of the community? So you can think through maybe one of the communities in one of the design in your community, and think from the features like sidewalk, trees, the look of the building, the color of the building, etc., etc. I'm gonna give everyone a minute to think and type. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the sticker note to put your comments onto this Jamboard, so you can see that on my screen. I see someone had a question. Is list development a possibility or a guarantee? I know Olivia is responding to this question.
We have a shy group tonight. I guess maybe some prompting questions, that we want to hear back. But think broad or abstract or whatever else. But landscaping, trees, sidewalks. Those are kind of the general things. The width of the streets, the size of the homes, anything you guys think about when you're you're driving into your own home or neighborhood, or either now or even in the past. What have been those connecting points that make it feel like this is my community, this is my home? Anything that you want to provide that input to us. Again, remember, everything you say today is going to be, work to be incorporated within a solicitation for developers. So we want to hear back from you. What is it that you want to see to, when you see this, it would be called home for someone. I'm seeing some responses. All right.
Thanks, Ray. Yeah, we're getting responses. Detachable homes, sitting areas, lots of trees. I love that. Any other ideas? All right, someone raised their hand. Crystal, feel free to unmute yourself. Or maybe I should do that.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. Good evening. As you are talking, I'm thinking, but I've thought about a community overall, and I've thought about like possibly contemporary modern type home, something different to the city. A lot you don't see a lot of contemporary modern style houses being developed. Nothing is extravagant, but as far as something within the budget, but it's still unique. Um, Also having, I mean, bringing the community together. I'm thinking like also having like, well, as far as the trees, I think possibly fruit trees or something to where, people will want to come out, and gather and, probably pick fruit from the trees and something like that. I'm sorry, I'm just brainstorming here.
No,
Um,
those are all great ideas. So are you thinking about like gathering spaces or?
yes, gathering spaces.
Okay. Thank you, Crystal.
You're welcome.
Any other ideas, comments? Does this cover all your need for your community? I don't think so.
We have a comment in the chat for a water feature.
Okay, let me go back to the chat. What a feature. Thank you. Lee, do you want to elaborate on that? Are you thinking about like a fountain or, stormwater management or some other, what kind of like water feature you're thinking about? Also, Cecily, let me know what is the time to move on to the next topic. I know you're timing for us.
Yes.
All
I
right.
think if there's no more, yeah, we can move on to the next
Yeah, I
one.
think we can probably move on to the next one. Okay, so the next question is that how can we make slightly denser developments like townhomes feels like they belong? So just think about the townhome development you've ever seen either in your community or in the city or even in some other neighborhoods in Houston. What kind of townhome or the style of the townhome you really liked about, and just think about like what kind of features they have. Do they have like really wide windows? Do they have, patio, front porch, big trees again, really connected sidewalks? Or the color of the building you really like, such as townhomes? Or you can think from bedroom perspective, like how many bedrooms you would like to see.
Um, some other things to consider are also like materiality. So I think in our last group we heard a lot about do people want brick or what's easier to maintain, and then like what about porches or terraces, other things that you may have in a single family home that could potentially be incorporated in townhomes. So it can also contribute to like community feel and other elements of design.
Again, if you want to speak, just raise your hand. I see Olivia had a follow-up question. Why do you prefer detached homes versus attached? I guess for Lee. Lee, if you want to speak out, just feel free to raise your hand. Oh, a little bit shy tonight. All right, got Derek. Hey, Derek, feel free to unmute yourself.
Thank you. I see that Olivia answered my question earlier about whether this was going to be a guarantee. So none of this is really set in stone. This could not be happening, right? There's a chance that it could not be happening.
Olivia, do you want to speak? Or Ray?
Yeah, I'll chime in and I'll let Lydia come in. So, Derek, to your question, is there a chance that this would not happen? So, to the extent, we think Olivia said that, we're undergoing site due diligence right now. We're doing an environmental report. There's other criteria that we're reviewing, regarding the deal and the transaction. So, is this all said and done? Have we bought the property? And the answer is no. But if you're asking us, what would change our minds for something like this, if something comes up regarding the site condition, and the environmental doesn't come back clean, or there is something else that comes out, and this transaction is ultimately just not viable. But that would be an underwriting decision. If we're asking the question, is this not a good idea to build homes that are attainable for people? No, that's always going to be the mission of what we do. And if it's not this project, we would move on. But it is our full intention to make sure that we have an opportunity to get the feedback so we can execute on this project. This is something that ultimately we believe is a good idea and something that needs to be done. Does that help?
It does. And let me be clear. I think that what you're doing is great, getting attainable homes for people. I'm personally just not thrilled with the idea of them being next to my home. That's it.
Okay. And we're more than happy to talk offline. From this session, we want to make sure that we get your feedback. But if there's a concern about, the look or the style or anything else that you want to see within this home. If sometimes we hear concerns about issues like traffic or this or that. And if you have those concerns you want to us address, let us know. Talk about it. Go to the social pinpoint site and tell us what those concerns are and how we can address them. And now we might not be able to mitigate everything that you might, be concerned about this proposal, but that's what this format is for, is to come out and we want to hear back from you. And if you're concerned about several specific things, items, let us know. And that's what we want. That's what we want to get from you. So not only can we create a community that that everyone's proud of, but we also want to make sure we don't want to negatively impact neighbors. And so that's what this engagement is about.
I don't think we are getting more comments, so I think we are probably good to move on to the next topic. Okay, so the next topic is how can green space and communal spaces help build community? Again, just think about, what would you like to see for the open spaces or, for green spaces? Are they picnic tables, shade structures, trees, maybe water features? Yeah, just think from maybe, the community park you've ever been, or maybe think about events you had in a community park, what you enjoyed about, and what the park provided for you. Not sorry, park, the green space. No comments? Sorry, I see Ashley is typing. Yeah, thanks, Philhan. What other things you want to access when celebrating family events or vacations? Or even think about like, do you prefer shade trees or shade structure? Okay, comment from a community member here. Ada. Okay, someone talking about the traffic. I know tonight I guess we can kind of talk about in the next topic, but if you do have anything more specific you want to share, please go to Social Pinpoint and share more ideas and comments there. All right, I think we're not getting more comments. Maybe we should move to the last topic for tonight. So the last one is how can we build connectivity into these developments? So just think about how you prefer to be connected within your neighborhood through either public transportation or sidewalks or bike lanes or some other things you can think of, or even some other features that someone mentioned in our last meeting, like stop signs, like traffic calming strategies, walking paths. Thank you. Just speaking about bike lanes, would you like to see some, bike amenities within the community design, like, bike parking, such as, bike racks or, some other things? I see Ashley has a follow-up question. Walking paths through the entire development? Ashley asked about how important are the trees and shaded walking paths. This is Houston. Great. We're adding more details to this comment. Thank you, everyone. All right, we're about to wrap up this session. I'm gonna give everyone maybe one more minute to give us your comments and thoughts and ideas. All right, I think we are not getting more comments. I think I'm gonna hand it to Ray. See if you have anything you wanna say or add.
No, we thank you so much, and thank you everybody for the engagement tonight. These comments, like I said, we're taking them, we're going to assess them, and one thing I'll say is when we get prepared to go out into before we go out to the development community, we're going to take these and bring them back to you. Now, every comment that we get, may not be, feasible or viable, but that's not meaning that it wasn't necessary or needed, through this input process. But we're going to, make sure that we take everything in consideration. And by the time we are ready to go back out and show this community what this is going to look like, we'll have something set up and preview that before we get an opportunity for developers to bid on it. Otherwise, thank you so much for your engagement tonight, and we look forward to showing you everything after we get a chance to disseminate it and show you what we have. So that's all I have, Lee.
All right, thanks, Ray. And again, thanks for everyone joining tonight. Have a good evening.